What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Let's Learn QuickBooks, where I am going to be tackling the QuickBooks Online certification in my efforts to become a QuickBooks ProAdvisor. So welcome you guys. Hopefully I'll be able to learn something about QuickBooks, and you guys will also be able to learn something about QuickBooks. So let's get started. Let's show what I have up on my screen, and let's move on to where we last left off. So I already have the QuickBooks Online open up, so we just have to go to the training. So let's do that. Let's pick up where we last left off, which was preparing clients' books and prep for taxes. So let's resume. Now let's read. Prep for taxes. What's going on, Debbie? How you doing? Always good to have you around. So, prep for taxes. The story so far. Year end is a time when you need to get client files ready for a tax specialist, and it's that time for your client, Dan Chang. You've worked with Dan in the lead up to the year end to finalize everything, and now it's time to do the final run through before submitting the tax return and closing the books. How can QuickBooks Online help? QuickBooks has just the tool you need to finalize Dan's books. Prep for taxes give you a head start on your client's tax return. It's made up of the profit and loss and balance sheet accounts that make up the company's trial balance. Prep for taxes allow you to validate and verify that all the amounts are ready to hand over to the tax preparer. This can save you a lot of time if you are the one preparing the tax returns, or make you really popular with the tax specialist you're handing the information over to. So, learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to 1. State when prep for taxes is used. 2. Identify how to view changes in the change list. 3. Recognize how to add notes and attachments to accounts. And 4. State that you can export QuickBooks Online prep for taxes data into ProConnect Tax Online to prepare tax returns. Alright, so topics covered will include prep for taxes and your workflow, and working with prep for taxes. So let's continue the lesson. Prep for taxes and your workflow. Watch the animation for more information about the benefits of prep for taxes when working at year end. So let's take a look at that.
Throughout the year, you as their accountant professional will manage your client's QuickBooks file, reconciling their books, correcting errors, and making sure liabilities are correct and paid on time. At year end, it's time to make sure everything really is correct and optimized and ready to hand over to a tax preparer or tax professional. This is where Prep for Taxes comes into its own. So what is Prep for Taxes? Prep for Taxes for QuickBooks Online Accountant lets you review a client's accounts from a single dashboard. Here you can review profit and loss and balance sheet accounts in a single view. Toggle the accounting method without affecting your client's QuickBooks settings. Make adjustment entries as needed, for example for depreciation or accruals. Add notes. View changes that have been made, and accept changes to update the balance sheet and profit and loss views to include the latest data. After your review, QuickBooks automatically assigns their accounts to the proper lines on tax forms, although you need to review and confirm the mapping. Once you're done, export the mapped tax forms to ProConnect Tax Online or as a CSV, ready for the tax preparer to complete the tax return. It's the perfect tool when you reach the year-end stage in the annual journey you take with your clients.
All right, perfect. So let's continue. Working with prep for taxes. So now you've done all the cleanup and made sure everything has been captured and reconciled. You're ready to complete the year-end close. Let's see how to use the Prep for Taxes tool in Dan Chang's file to make sure everything is ready for tax preparation. changes in the UI may not be reflected in the video. So we're just going to watch the video rather than read the steps, because I think that's just a optimal way to go about this. So let's take a look.
From Dan's dashboard, select the Accountant toolbox. Select Prep for Taxes. The Prep for Taxes screen shows balance sheet and profit and loss summaries by account and by year in one view. You can check the accounting method in use and even change it if you need to. Accrual is just fine for Dan. You can also see any existing adjusting entries for the company. There aren't any at the moment for Dan, but we need to make one. We're going to make an adjustment to one of Dan's account entries that covers depreciation for some furniture and office equipment he bought earlier in the year. In the balance sheet area, select the drop-down for Fixed Assets to locate the Accumulated Depreciation Account line item. On the right, next to the Accumulated Depreciation Account, select Make an Adjustment from the drop-down. This creates an Adjusting Journal entry. Note that the Is Adjusting Journal Entry checkbox is checked. Select the Depreciation Expenses expense account on the first line. Add a debit of $900. On the second line, select the Accumulated Depreciation Asset account. It automatically creates a credit to the account to match the debit. Add a description. Adjustment based on schedule from ProAdvisor. Select Save and Close. Back on the Prep for Taxes screen, we can see that the change has been noted at the top. Select View Changes. Here we can see the change that we made, edit it if needed, or view the audit log. Select Back to Prep for Taxes. Select Accept Changes. If we scroll down, we can see the adjustment we made. The Accumulated Depreciation account now shows an extra $900. On the right, select the drop-down and select Add Note. Add a note to describe the adjustment to the account. Adjustment made for $900 based on revised depreciation schedule. Select Save. Back on the Prep for Taxes screen, for the same account, select the Add Attachment option. Here we can select Upload and add an attachment. In this case, we would add the depreciation schedule. Back on the Prep for Taxes screen, we can see the note and the attachment we added. Now select the Tax Mapping tab at the top. Here we can select the type of tax form that matches Dan's business. Select Sole Proprietor. The tax form that Prep for Taxes generates reflects the business type we just selected. Once the Prep for Taxes screen is just as we want it, and Dan's accounts are in order, we can select the appropriate option from the green button at the top right. We can either update an existing return, create new return, or export CSV file.
Okay, perfect. So let's continue. Lesson check. Which of these are options or features of the Prep for Taxes tool in QuickBooks Online Accountant? Let's see. Shortcuts to make adjustments? I think so, but we'll find out. Add notes to an account entry? Think so. Add attachments? Maybe. Delete account entries? I don't think so. Compare profit and loss balance sheets? Yes. There we go, that's right. All of these are features for Prep for Taxes, making it a perfect tool to finalize accounts for submission to a tax specialist. So I'm going to go ahead and save that here. Is this key task for, this is Prep for Taxes. Let me add that. Prep for, no, I guess this is key task for year end. So, Prep for Taxes. So I'm going to just make a note of that. Okay, I'm gonna hit next. Alright, summing up. Well done. In this lesson you learned how to state when Prep for Taxes is used, identify how to view changes in the change list, recognize how to add notes and attachments to accounts, and state what you can export State that you can export QuickBooks Online Prep for Taxes to ProConnect Tax Online to prepare tax returns. Okay, next steps. In the next lesson, we will view how to best close the books and to protect transactions in previous periods from being changed. Let's go to the next lesson. Let's zoom out back, see what's up with this lesson. So this should be 10 minutes allegedly. This one actually was 10 minutes exactly. So let's continue working on this. Looks like we should be able to complete this tonight. So let's take a stab at it. Closing the books. Okay, the story so far. It's the final stage of the year-end process for Dan Chang's Master VA and Designs. It's time to close the books. Let's show Dan how it's done. How can QuickBooks Online help? All right. Along with the normal accounting process, QuickBooks Online has a great feature called Closing the Books. It's best practice to close the books to protect transactions in previous periods from being changed. In QuickBooks Online, this is easy. You'll see how to set up a password to protect prior period balances, and how to edit transactions in a closed period if you need to, and how to tell if changes have been made to a closed period. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to 1. Utilize the closed book function, and 2. Know how to access the closing date exception log. Topics covered include closing the books in QuickBooks Online, and closing date exception log. Okay, so let's start the lesson. Let's continue. Closing the books. Closing the books isn't just a year-end process, of course. Books can be closed at a frequency that works for you and your client. Sometimes each month after reconciliations are complete, but the books should be closed at least each year-end after the tax return has been filed to finalize all of the accounts. So we'll use this as our example. Continue lesson. Lesson check. What tasks would you need to complete before closing the books? Okay, reconcile all bank and credit card accounts. That sounds right. Substantiate all bank balance sheet accounts. That sounds good. Okay. Review profit and loss accounts. All right, sounds good to me. Close the audit log. I don't know. Update QuickBooks Online. I don't think so. But close the audit log. That sounds good to me. Nope, it's not right. So let's try that. So it's not close the audit log. That's right. Tasks you'll need to perform include reconciling bank and credit cards and any other balance sheet accounts. You should review other balance sheet accounts and tie out balances either to other reports like accounts receivable, accounts payable, and inventory, or to other documents, i.e. loans. You should also review profit and loss accounts for reasonableness and dig further if an account does not look correct. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Closing a task to complete before closing the book. I'm just taking notes for myself over here. So, insert screen clipping. Let's take a stab at this. Okay. Excuse me. So, let's continue with the lesson. Closing the books in QuickBooks Online. Watch the video to see how to close the books for Dan. The individual steps are below for you to follow. So let's watch this video. Let's open it up.
Select the Accountant toolbox. Select Close Books from the Accountant toolbox. Select the pencil icon in the Accounting section. Select the box next to Close the Books. Enter a closing date. It can be today's date. Select Allow Changes after viewing a warning and entering password from the drop-down menu. Enter a password. Select Save. The books are now closed.
All right, interesting. So let's continue with the lesson. Closing date exception reports. Once you've set a closing date, if someone does change something before the closing date, you can easily identify these transactions. There is a new report in the Reports Center called the Closing Date Exceptions Report. Let's see how a transaction can be changed after the books have been closed and how this can be identified by checking out the Closing Date Exception Report. So let's take a look.
Select Expenses, and then select the Cool Nerds Mastermind expense that Dan paid, amounting to $97. Now on the new screen with details for this expense, change the amount to $100. Select Save. You should get a warning pop-up telling you, this transaction's date is prior to your company's closing date. This will affect your accounting. Are you sure you want to save? Please enter the password to continue. Enter the password you set earlier, then select Save.
Alright.
Now select the Accountant toolbox. Select the For My Accountant reports. Here, you can select the Exceptions to Closing Date report. You should see the audit history window and the details of the edit you just made to the Cool Nerds Mastermind expense. Impressed?
Okay, perfect. Let's continue moving it along. So lesson check, where would you find the option to close books? I would say in the Accountant toolbox, but let's check the answer. That's right, begin the process of closing the books by selecting the Accountant toolbox. Okay, summing up, well done. In this lesson, you learned how to utilize the close book function and know how to access the closing date exception log. Next steps, that's it. Now run through the module review to see if there are any elements for you to recap before moving on. So, alright, that was less than 10 minutes. Perfect. So, module review, preparing clients' books. This short module review is an optional activity enabling you to revisit some of the key points covered in the course. This is not a test, so there's no scoring and no pass or fail either. Its purpose is to help you to reinforce what you've learned. Although the review is optional, we do recommend that you complete it because it does not count toward your course completion status and is reflected in the progress bar. To complete the review, simply work through the questions presented. You must answer each question correctly to proceed to the next. Okay, so let's continue. Question 1. A key year-end task is verifying that client balance sheet accounts are reconciled. Employee loans or company loans need to have supporting detail reports showing what makes up the ending account balance. Blank should match payroll taxes calculated for the period and paid in the next period. So let's read that again. Employee loans or company loans need to have supporting detail reports showing what makes up the ending balance. Blank should match payroll taxes calculated for the period and paid in the next period. Which option completes the sentence? Okay. I guess payroll liability accounts. Let's find out. The options were profit and loss detail reports, inventory depreciation reports, and payroll liability accounts. Let's check. That's right. Okay, so let's move on. Question number 2. You need to help a client with some problem transactions that may not have been recorded properly. Why would you use the reclassifying transactions tool? Select the correct options from the list. Okay. To clean up transactions posted to uncategorized expense, maybe. When transactions have been posted to the wrong account, maybe. And when you need to make inventory adjustments, I don't think so. Check answer. That's right, for some reason. But let's see if I could find reclassifying tool over here. No, I don't have that. Next. Where would you find the link to reclassify a transaction? I would say it's in the accounting toolbox. Let's find out. That's right. Question 4. After selecting write-off invoices in the accountant toolbox, how do you find the invoices you need to write off? By selecting age or to date and optionally balance due less than a certain amount, then select refresh, or by selecting balance due more than a certain amount, then filter, then refresh. I would say it would be the first one. That's right. By selecting the age or to date and optionally balance due date less than a certain amount. Okay, next. Question number 5. To close a client's books, you need to follow the steps shown here. Select the accountant toolbox. Select closed books from the accountant toolbox. Select the pencil icon within the accounting section. Blank. Enter a closing date. Select allow changes after reviewing a warning and entering a password from the drop-down menu. Enter a password and confirm password. Select save. What is the correct option for step 4? So let's look at that. Again, select accountant toolbox. Select closed books from the accountant toolbox. Select the pencil icon from the accounting section. Okay. Enter a closing date. Well, so set a closing date. I mean, that sounds very similar to enter a closing date. Check the box titled close the books. I would say that's it. The other options are set a starting date, set a ending and starting date. Check my answer. That's right. Question number 6. Look at the steps listed here for closing a client's books. Select the accountant toolbox. Select the closed books from the accountant toolbox. Select the pencil icon for the accounting selection. Select the box next to the closed books. Close the books. 5 blank. Which steps is correct for step 5? Select save. So options are enter a closing date, select save, enter a password, select looks like I didn't select password. Select X to close the screen. So I think it's enter a password. No. Is it select save? No. Oh no, you have to enter a closing date. There we go. Okay. Question 7. How would you navigate from a client's QuickBooks Online client company dashboard to the exceptions to closing date report? Okay, so let's read that again. How would you navigate from a client's QuickBooks Online client company dashboard to the exceptions to closing date report? Select all the methods that are correct. I would say it's through go to my accountant center via the left navigation. No, go to the accountant toolbox. Then select accountant reports and look for the my accountant section. Go to accountant toolbox and select blah blah blah. Go to report center. Okay. I would say it's this or that. And let's find out. There we go. So the answer is go to the report center via the left navigation. Where is reports? Right here. And look in the For My Accountant section. And the other option is go to the accountant toolbox, which is up here. Then select accountant reports and look for the My Accountant section. Okay. Oops. Module complete. Well done. Getting to know your clients and tailoring your advice is what being a QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor is all about. You're beginning to move from offering a transactional service to becoming a trusted advisor. Your hard work is paying off and you're now in the final stretch. Now is a great time to reflect on what you've learned so far and get ready for the certification exam in our final lesson. So course overview. Let's see what's over here. Let's go ahead and complete the CPE. Unfortunately, I cannot. I think I'm going to have to jump out and jump back in. training. Let's move back. Okay, well, first there's next steps. So let's take a look at that. So next steps, your journey so far. Now that you've completed this course, let's take a moment to understand just what you've achieved so far and what happens next. What have you learned? You've been through a journey where you see how QuickBooks Online and you as a trusted advisor can make all the difference to a business. You've learned how to analyze your clients' needs and advise them on the best QuickBooks Online subscriptions to meet their needs, effectively onboard new client setups on QuickBooks Online in a way that it's right for them and their business. Follow best practice with QuickBooks Online to manage small business clients, managing balancing and maintaining their books throughout the accountancy workflow, generating business reports that add value to your clients, and use QuickBooks Online accountants to manage clients and work so you never miss a deadline. But the journey is not quite over. The certification exam. To gain certification for the course you've just completed, you need to take the exam. So the exam has 8 sections. After you've answered all questions in the section, you'll get to review and change your answers before submitting them. Be sure to submit each exam section before you move on or leave the exam. Progress will be lost if you leave before selecting submit section. For exams with multiple sections, you need to complete all the sections in this exam before submitting whole exam for grading. Please use one browser tab for your exam submission. You need to answer 80% of the questions in each section correctly to get your certification. You have 3 attempts to pass this certification exam. For exams with multiple sections, after your first attempt, subsequent attempts to pass will only include the sections that were failed in previous attempts. You will need to answer all the questions in a failed section again. Submit the answers for the full exam when you're ready. If you don't pass in 3 attempts, you'll need to wait 60 days before your last attempt before you can try the certification exam again. So don't fail 3 times is pretty much what it's telling you. So let's continue the lesson. Alright, continuing your journey. Select the tabs in turn. So recertification. We're continuously updating our products, which is why we offer annual recertification to keep you in the know. Every year, we'll ask you to pass a short recertification exam by July 31 to keep your expert status and ProAdvisor rewards. Crash course in what's new in QuickBooks Online. Training options available just for recertification. Shorter exam than original certification. Continuing your journey. Once you're certified with QuickBooks Online, you can also continue your journey with a range of additional courses that will add to your knowledge and impress current and potential clients. Okay, let's continue lesson. Option is to take the exam, but let's take the CPE first. Oops, that's not it. Alright, let's take a look at this. That's QuickBooks Online Advanced Certification. Go back here. I need to complete my CPE over here. So let's do that. Okay, CPE assessment rules. Before you begin this assessment, please review the instructions below. If you don't require CPE credits, you may skip this optional assessment, but why not challenge yourself to see how much you know? You must complete this short assessment in one sitting. You have unlimited attempts to pass this assessment? CPE details and glossary. Let's get started. Question 1. When would you, as a ProAdvisor, expect to use prep for taxes? At year end, when preparing for a client's file for a tax specialist? That sounds right to me, but let's continue reading the other potential answers. Before each reconciliation, after each reconciliation, at the end of each quarter. I think this is the first one. Let's keep it with that. The write-off invoices tool is most often used when an invoice just won't be paid. Which two options are true of the functionality of the write-off invoices tool and how it works? So 2 options. The process reduces the balance of the invoices by adding a discount on the original invoice. Oh boy. Which 2 options are true of the functionality of the write-off invoices tool and how it works? The process reduces the balance of the invoice by adding a discount. No. The tool deletes invoices completely from QuickBooks Online. Not sure about that. Writing off invoices removes accounts receivable balances. Yeah, I think so. The process adjusts any relevant sales tax. I think that's the 2 options that are correct. So, question 3. Reclassifying transactions in QuickBooks Online is straightforward, but when would you need to use this feature? To review and potential answers are to review and correct transactions miscategorized to the client's general ledger accounts. But when would you use this feature? Okay, so to review and correct transactions miscategorized to the client's general ledger accounts. I think that's true. Let's read the other ones just to make sure that we are looking at everything. To change a payroll transaction showing a payment to the wrong employee. Nope. To categorize the account of to recategorize the account of a transaction that had been posted using a product or service. I'm not sure what that means. To delete a transaction in QuickBooks Online. I think it's the first one. Let's keep it moving. How would you begin to reclassify client transactions in QuickBooks Online? Go to reclassify transactions in the accountant toolbox. I think that's correct. On the main prep for taxes screen, when you select make an adjustment, what kind of journal entry is being created? On the main, let's read that again. On the main prep for taxes screen, when you select made an adjustment, what kind of journal entry is being created? Potential answers are refund receipt, a recurring journal entry, an adjusting journal entry, a delayed charge. I would say an adjusting journal entry. Let's find out. Question 6. Look at the steps listed here for closing a client's books. Select number 1. Select the accountant toolbox. 2. Select the close the books from the accountant toolbox. 3. Select the pencil icon for the accountant section. 4. Select the box next to close the books, and 5. Blank. What is the option? Which option is correct for step 5? I think it's enter a closing date. Let's find out. Question number 7. You are reconciling and preparing your client's books for year end, but the account balances don't match to the saved reconciliations report. Okay, let's read that again. You are reconciling and preparing your client's books for year end, but the account balances don't match to the saved reconciliation report. Which of the following reports can you use to help you? Okay. So customer balance summary, open invoices report, reconciliation discrepancy report. I would say it's that. And the last one was statement of cash flows. If you want to check for any changes made to transactions dated before the closing date, after the closing date has been set, where do you go? to the accountant's toolbox, select accountant report, and then select the exceptions closing date report. Let's read that again. If you want to check for any changes made to the transaction's date before the closing date, after the closing date has been set, okay, to the next potential answer is to the gear icon, select the accountant reports, then select the exceptions to closing date report. To the accountant toolbox, select closing book, and then select list of changes, maybe that. To the gear icon, select the accountant's reports, then select the exceptions to the closing date report. To the reports link on the left menu of your QuickBooks Online, select close books, and then select changes. I think it's that probably. Let's find out. You have passed and earned the CPE credits for this module. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and download that and open that up. Bring this over here. I'm going to save that. 3/1/20. Saved. And that's done. Okay, perfect. Now we have to go back to here, training. Huh, that's funny. Oh wait, because that was advanced sales tax. This is the QuickBooks Online Advanced certification. We have to go back here. So let's take a look over here. Where the heck is it? Okay. Okay, over here is take exam. This improved scenario-based training teaches you the most used and key features you need to support your clients through the end-to-end accounting lifecycle. The training also prepares you to take the QuickBooks Online certification exam with confidence. So let's take exam. I don't feel that confident, but okay. So let's get started. So this is going to be several sections. It looks like it's going to be, it's going to be 8 sections. First section is going to be QuickBooks Solutions for Clients. So let's get started. Certification exam rules. Remember, after you have answered all questions in this section, you will have a chance to review and amend your answers before submitting them. Your section progress will not be saved or submitted until you have selected Submit section once you have completed all questions. Make sure you have a strong and reliable internet connection and an uninterrupted block of time to complete this section in full. After you have completed this section in the exam, you will have the option to submit your answers for grading. You must pass 80% of the questions in the section to gain your certification. You have 3 attempts to pass this certification exam. For exams with multiple sections, after your first attempt, subsequent attempts to pass will only include the sections that you have failed in previous attempts. Okay. Okay. Let's read that from up here. Okay. Huh, interesting. Let's read it from the top. After you have answered all questions in a section, you'll have a chance to review and amend your answers before submitting them. Your section progress will not be saved or submitted until you select Submit Section once you have completed all sections. Make sure you have a strong and reliable internet connection and an uninterrupted block of time to complete this section in full. After you have completed this section in this exam, you will have the option to submit your answers for grading. You must pass 80% of the questions in the section to gain your certification. You have 3 attempts to pass this certification exam. For exams with multiple sections, after your first attempt, subsequent attempts to pass will only include the sections you have failed in previous attempts. Okay, if you don't pass on your first attempt, following attempts will only include sections that you didn't pass earlier. You still need to answer all questions in those sections again. Make sure your answers are submitted correctly or successfully by only loading the exam once in your internet browser. Okay, I'm not 100% sure about what it's describing because you only have 3 attempts for the overall exam. So if you failed 3 sections, 1 time each, that's it. You can't take the exam anymore for 60 days. Is that what they're saying? I'm not too sure, but whatever. Let's get started. Question number 1, managing inventory and avoiding out of stock situations is critical to the success of this type of client. So what type of client does this best describe? Professional and field services, appointment-based, retail and e-commerce. I would say it's retail and e-commerce. Let's continue. What's this over here? What are 3 primary ways to get information into QuickBooks Online? Okay. Convert data from QuickBooks desktop file. Use the import data tool. Not use the export data tool. Enter data manually into QuickBooks Online forms and check registers. Okay, I think that's it. But let's check to make sure. Client onboarding. I think that's it. Which subscription level in QuickBooks Online would you recommend? Oh wait, you have a client who needs QuickBooks Online solution that includes tracking for sales and sales taxes. Okay, so for that you need to take a look at what is available. So let's take a look at report differences by different subscription levels. No, is this not it? I don't think this is what we need. Who needs a QuickBooks Online that includes tracking for sales? Sales by customers, sales, and sales taxes. Okay, I think QuickBooks Online Simple Start would be good. QuickBooks Online, I think so. Check. Is there any other list here available? Okay, I think there's another tool here that we can use. New client checklist, I think, is the one that can help us determine what's the best or what they can use. Okay, so sales tax. So I would say not self-employed. They would need simple start or above. So simple start, essentials, or online advanced, online plus. Okay. Which subscription option, if any, includes online banking access from any device at any time? Okay, let me take a look at that again. Which subscription option, if any, includes online banking access from any device at any time? QuickBooks Online. Which subscription option, if any, includes online banking access from any device at any time and integration with a wide range of apps? I would say it's QuickBooks Online. Okay, so QuickBooks Online Plus, QuickBooks Online Simple Starts, Essential, Plus, and Advanced. I would say maybe that. QuickBooks Self-Employed, only QuickBooks. I would say it'd be that. But let's take a look at this that I have over here. Oh, in case you guys are wondering what I'm looking at, this is what I'm looking at. And this I got from one of the modules, from this module actually. And I saved it, so it's a good thing I saved it because it's available for me to use now. So, which subscription options, if any, includes online banking access from any device at any time? So let's find out. Online, see if they have anything about that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Bank. Includes online banking access from any device at any time, integration with the phone. I am guessing it's that. You know what? Let me check this. Well, I guess it's this one because these say only and this one says none. So this is it. Okay. Which reporting... So yeah, it's kind of a trick question with the way that they worded it. But anyway, question number 5. Which reporting app is included with a QuickBooks Online Advanced subscription? Which reporting app is included with a QuickBooks Online Advanced subscription? Let's find out. Fathom. Okay. According to this list I have, this checklist I have. Okay. Which two statements and what is Fathom used for? Smart reporting. Okay. Question number 6. Which two statements are true of wholesale billing for QuickBooks Online? Okay. The practice gets billed at wholesale prices for QuickBooks Online subscriptions. Maybe. Client gets billed directly. That's not true. When they're signed up for a wholesale discount account, the client gets billed directly, but the practice determines the price. No. The practice gets billed and determines the amount to bill the client. Yes. Client will be required to enter their credit card information when they log into the newly created subscription. I think that's, so the two that I selected is the ones. Let's check over here to make sure. So let's continue. Question 7. Below is a series of steps for accepting an invitation from the client to become their accountant user. 1. Open the email you use for your Intuit ID. 2. Select to see an invitation from the client company. 3. Select the accept button to accept the invitation. 4. Blank and you'll see a success box. And 5. Continue. So let's take a look at that. Open email, you'll see trying to use for an email. You'll see an invitation from the client. Select accept button and select blank and you'll see a success box. So can you identify the missing step? No. I don't think create new user ID and password for a client company. Create new Intuit ID, I don't think so. Sign into your QuickBooks Online accountant account. I don't think so. Maybe it is this one, but let's take a look. So what I'm doing is I'm looking up on Google to see the answer sheet. So yeah, I'm kind of cheating, but who cares? This one I don't find an answer to. Okay, so let's look at this. Open the email account you used for. You'll see an invite from the client company. Select the accept button to I guess it is sign into your QuickBooks Online accountant. That makes sense to me, because you will open the email account from your Intuit. Open the email account you use for your Intuit ID. You will see an invitation. Select the accept button to accept the invitation. Sign into your QuickBooks Online accountant account and you'll see a success box. Makes sense to me. Okay, I think that's it, but we'll see. Okay, question 8. You are reviewing the client overview tab for a new client to determine the scope of bookkeeping cleanup engagement. You notice that there is a large amount in the opening balance equity account. Which 3 reasons can be causing this balance? So let's look. The client has added transactions in the banking center without assigning an account to them. Maybe. Opening balances for one or more product services was entered during the setup process. Not sure. The client entered an opening balance when creating a new other current asset account. Opening balances was included. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Yeah, I don't actually know the answer to this. So let's find out. I'm going to Google it. Okay. Quickbooks automatically records the following transactions to the opening balance equity account. Common errors. Here are the common errors. Users do not know what to do with the open balance equity. Users enter an opening balance when setting up a new account. When setting up a new account, vendor, customer, or whatever. User create transactions that post to open balance. Okay, I don't know about that. Okay. Okay, you're reviewing client overview tab. You notice that there's a large amount of opening balance equity accounts. What 3 reasons can be causing the balance? The client has added transactions in the banking center without assigning an account to them. Opening balances for one or more product services items were entered during the setup process. The client entered opening balance when creating new other asset account. Opening balances were included when importing. Maybe. This one's a tricky one. Masses are terrible. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's see, open balances. Other common transactions and blah blah blah. Common errors. Users do not know what to do with the open balance equity account. Users enter an opening balance when setting up a new account. Vendor, customer, or inventory item. Users create transactions that post to the... So let's just say that Okay, question number 9. Deanne Doolittle has opened a client's QuickBooks Online company from her client dashboard in QuickBooks Online Accountant. She wants to see which apps are connected to the client's account. From the client's dashboard in QuickBooks Online Accountant. She wants to see which apps are connected to the client's account. Where can she find this information without logging out of the client's QuickBooks Online account? Where can she find this information without logging off of the client's QuickBooks Online account? Okay. Well, let's find out. Okay. From her client dashboard in QuickBooks Online Accountant, she wants to see which apps are connected to the client's account. Okay. Where can she find this information without logging out of the client's QuickBooks Online account? And these are some, pretty involved questions. Probably should have saved the questions. Without logging out of the client's QuickBooks Online account. Find the information without logging. Oh, is there an apps over here? I don't see an apps. There it is. I don't know if that's it. Apps. It's one of these two. Apps. Company setup provides important details about your client's QuickBooks subscriptions, whether or not you have payroll or sales enabled. In addition, you'll also see how many apps your clients has connected to their QuickBooks. Yeah, I think it's client overview, company setup. Okay. Which two statements regarding Intuit approved QuickBooks Online apps are approved? So yeah, I mean, I read over here, I found on QuickBooks page that says something about client overview and company setup, so I think that's the answer. Let's move on. Question 10, which two statements regarding Intuit approved QuickBooks Online apps are true? They must meet strict requirements and undergo a testing process. They must be developed by Intuit. No. They must be free of charge. No. They must be available via the app screen in QuickBooks Online Accountant. I guess. Let's find out. So review. Submit section. Let's see how we did. Did we pass? I don't know. I guess we don't know if we pass until everything is done. Oh wow. That's really irritating. Let's see how far along have we gone. Okay, so we've been streaming for an hour now, so we're going to call it quits for now. Thank you everyone for joining me for this stream. I hope you guys found the content to be useful. If you guys enjoy the content, feel free to hit that like, that notification bell, and that subscribe button. Alright guys, until next time, keep working hard, work smart, stay hustling, and have a good one guys.